We have a question for you on this Labor Day. Are you stressed out about your credit card debt? Last week, I sat down with Beacon Financial CEO John Maxon to go more in depth on debt and how to save money as well during these inflationary times. Some of these terms can get a little technical, but today we're talking about two phrases you know well. First of all, inflation and how to deal with it. Secondly, credit card debt. John, thank you so much for being here.
Yeah, it's great to be here, Tracy.
And a source of information that we need to dive into a little more deeply here, because credit card debt, bottom line, how do you feel about credit cards?
Well, you want to avoid it as much as possible. Unfortunately, in the economic environment we're in, credit card debt recently hit an all-time high. And as the Fed raises interest rates, unfortunately, interest rates on credit card debt go up. So it's a problem right now economically.
Will people pay attention to that number going higher and higher as those bills roll in?
Yeah, absolutely. And their intent is to pay it off a little at a time, but as that snowballs and people have a harder time paying their bills, unfortunately, with, again, the added increase in interest rates, those bills become higher and higher, and they can really impact folks economically.
So how do we lower credit card debt?
Yeah, I mean, one of the most basic things is to have a budget, which, again, a lot of people unfortunately do not have. Know what your monthly budget is, and as much as possible, you want to have an emergency fund. We would tell folks 3 to 6 months, so you don't have to add up credit card debt to start with. But if you're struggling economically and you do have credit card debt, you want to begin to pay off as much as possible each month to be able to reduce that, which is going to reduce your payment.
Would you say the ideal thing in life should be to have zero credit card debt?
Yeah, I think to have responsible debt is important, but I think as much as possible relative to credit cards, because credit card companies are not your friend. And with the Fed raising interest rates, those credit card interest rates have gone up higher. It's really impacting people. So as little as possible relative to credit card debts would really be ideal.
For those with multiple credit cards, should we consolidate?
Yeah, consolidation is always a question that we get asked a lot, and if you can lower your interest rate and or lower your overall payment, it's certainly something to look at. But if you have multiple credit cards, a good way of looking at attacking it is starting with the smallest amount first, paying that off, and you really would be surprised how quickly, over not as much time as you might expect, that credit card debt and those payments will be reduced.
Overall inflation, we talk about it in probably every story on the news right now. What do we really need to know about it as far as things from saving money at the grocery store with these increasing costs and the best way to save money on gas, for example?
Yeah, so those all actually combine together pretty nicely, where inflation is a 40-year high. It's really impacting people economically. But one of the best ways to really reduce your cost at the grocery store is to use, a lot of the grocery stores have apps that you can use. And if you use those apps when you're shopping, then you'll get coupons that'll be applied to your purchases, and you can get reward points that you can then purchase gas at a reduced price. And so really using those grocery store apps and applying those reward points towards gasoline that we're paying at the pump can be really helpful to your overall monthly budget.
And that is something we can all do. We can figure it out on our phones. It's not as daunting as one may think.
It's not as daunting as they may think. That's correct.
And then when it comes to some lifestyle changes we can all make in this inflationary world we're in right now.
Yeah, I think it's important, like, for example, when you go to the grocery store, go with a list so that you don't overspend. Know what you're going to purchase before you walk into the grocery store. Have a monthly budget. Again, it's amazing how many people don't have a monthly budget, but if you go in with a list of what your purchases are going to be and you stick to that budget, you use the apps that the grocery stores have and apply those coupons, it really can be impactful to your monthly budget.
Some self-imposed limits we can all create for ourselves. John, thank you so much.
Thank you, Tracy.
And here's something else that's important when it comes to paying things.